Hi, everyone. Welcome to New York City Culture and Arts Administrator Mentorship Program, or CAMP, information session. We're so glad to have you here today. My name is Kimberly Olson. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Executive Director of the Roundtable. And I'm joined by...
Hi everyone, my name is Kinsey Keck. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the programs director here at the Roundtable. And as you can see, Kim and I are in the office together. We're sharing a Zoom screen for the first time, live and in person, so
Yes.
it's fun for us. But so great to have you all here.
Yeah. So just to give a self-description of ourselves, and we'll do our best to also self-describe what's on the PowerPoint slides that are accompanying this for anybody that can't access this presentation visually. So I'm a pale-skinned white woman. My brown hair is a little wavy today and worn to my shoulders. I'm wearing a gold necklace with some drama masks on it and a tie-dye dress against a blurred background. Seated next to...
Yes, I am a white woman with brown hair. I have a middle part and it's pulled back in a clip today. I am wearing a vertical kind of striped brown sleeveless sweater with white buttons down the front. And I'm wearing some large round wire framed glasses and our background is blurred. Yes.
Let's go to that next slide. So, for those of you that might be new to the roundtable, welcome. For those of you that are returning to the roundtable, welcome again. We are a nonprofit grassroots organization that is working to improve and advance arts education here in New York City schools, communities, and beyond. Really, our charge is to support the workforce through programs like professional development, through advocacy, through online resources and platforms that help keep our field connected. We're a community of teaching artists, educators, and cultural workers. And you can see our mission written out on the screen alongside two pictures of some very smiley community members in conversation with one another at a previous face-to-face conference. So here's what to expect during our time together this evening. Our agenda, we're in the midst of our welcome. We're then going to go over the CAMP program with an overview, give you some information about what to expect. We'll give some space for questions that you have. We're then going to do a deep dive into the application and walk through it. So you have a sense of how to navigate that process, and of course, giving another space for questions. If you have any questions that come up during it, of course, you're welcome to access the chat and we'll do our best to respond in the moment, or we'll just save those for a period where we're doing a larger Q&A. We do ask that you keep your microphone on mute if you're not the one speaking. That way it's just easier to hear who is speaking. If you would like to access captions at all during this session, there is a show captions button that should appear in your toolbar that you're able to click. Additionally, we are recording this session so that we can make it available not only to you, but to others afterwards to access as you are working on your application materials. So that will be shared ideally within the next week or so. We're hoping to get that out to folks. And then last but not least, just take care of yourself. We're a you do you type of space, type of organization. You're welcome to be on camera, off camera, however you would like to show up. We welcome and are excited to have you here. So to dive right in, I'm curious, just to kick us off, in the chat, if you wouldn't mind answering, what characteristics do you look for in a mentor?
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Here we
here
go.
they come. Someone who gives honest feedback, including critiques. Wise.
Yeah, someone who's curious, engaged. They have the willingness to answer questions in full. Wonderful.
Seasoned and kind, patient, communicative.
Grace under pressure.
Nice.
Yes, I need that myself.
Same here. Nurturing, honest, realistic, compassionate, attentive, approachable, good communicator, listening skills, lots of experience.
Constructive criticism and approachable. A good communicator, I see. Again, approachable, yes.
Excellent.
Okay.
Meeting someone where they're at, I see communication again. I see kindness. I see similar values. Excellent.
Ooh, bigger picture. Help me see the bigger picture. I like that as well. Y'all can keep dropping these in the chat, but we're gonna move forward.
Our hope really with this, and that we found in this program, our other mentorship program as well, that's our goal as well in terms of partnering participants, whether that be early career administrators like this program or our other program, which does mid-career teaching artists. We're really interested in mentorship as a means of supporting sustainability in the field, supporting you as you are continuing your journey within arts and culture. And know many of these things have been helpful for me in terms of my own being a mentor and then also being mentored myself. So what's CAAMP? Where did this come from? CAAMP, or the Cultural Arts Administrator Mentorship Program here in New York City, is made possible by the George S. Kaufman Charitable Foundation. And so, are you a New York City-based early career arts administrator with 5 years of experience? Are you seeking support, resources, and networks to help you build a career in the field? And would mentorship be beneficial to your career trajectory? If the answer to all of those was yes, you're in the right place.
So a little bit more information about CAAMP, which again is the New York City Culture and Arts Administrator Mentorship Program. So we've got this written here and I'll read it aloud. This regrant and workforce development opportunity seeks to cultivate the next generation of arts and culture administrative workers by helping early career professionals establish skills and networks necessary to support their career longevity and advancement. The program itself will provide at least 20 participants with funds, professional development resources, one-to-one mentorship, and connections to New York City's arts and culture community. Program elements. This is a quick overview, but we are going to touch on each of these things individually as well. So first of all, this is a regrant program. It's a paid program. Each grantee will receive a $2,500 grant. We'll talk about how that's dispersed a little bit later. As I mentioned already, we'll have at least 20 mentees in this program who are New York City-based arts and culture administrators. A core component of the program is one-to-one mentorship. So our mentees will be paired with a mentor throughout the 7 to 8 month program. And then additional features include 8 different curated cohort professional development opportunities, 2 field assignments, and then a requirement to attend 2 public professional developments that we are putting on as well. We have already received a lot of questions about eligibility. We're going to go over this slide right now, but we do anticipate folks having questions during our questions portion. So if you have those, you can put them in the chat, but just know we'll have 2 pauses for questions if you want to get to the nitty-gritty about eligibility. But in terms of eligibility, we are looking for folks who are currently working in an administrative capacity in the arts and culture field in New York City. Eligible participants must also be current residents of New York City, so both living and working in New York City within the 5 boroughs. We would like our participants must have at least 1, but no more than 5 years of administrative experience in the arts and culture field. And in terms of work experience, eligible work experience may include contract-based work, part-time work, volunteer work, and or full-time employment. So it can look like a lot of different things. In terms of who is not eligible to apply to this program, organizations. This is specifically for individuals. Anyone who is not a New York City resident, as we shared, is unfortunately ineligible for the program. If you're a current staff member or board member of the Roundtable, you are not eligible for this program either. And if you are a current participant of our other mentorship program, the 2026 New York State Teaching Artist Mentorship Program, you would not be eligible to apply for this program this year. Yes. Okay, great. So funding and payment. As we discussed, there is a $2,500 grant associated with participating in the program. So grant recipients will be awarded their funding in 2 parts, pending completion of program benchmarks and milestones, as well as their contract signature and submission of their materials, including a completed W-9 form, relevant banking information, plus the program requirements. So 2 parts, so there would be an initial payment near the beginning of the program and then one upon completion. These will be paid via ACH payment or check. That is up to the recipient, how they'd like to receive it. Just a flag that this income will receive a 1099 it is considered taxable income. So you will receive the full grant, but you will be taxed on it later. And then the award is meant to cover your time and participation in all aspects of the program. So a little bit more about these program elements. As I mentioned, the first feature is our one-to-one mentorship. So participants in the program will meet virtually or in person with their mentor approximately once a month. They have a minimum of 7 hours total to complete, and we imagine each meeting being about an hour, so that would be seven meetings. These will take place during the program period, which is December 2026 through the end of June 2027. And whether it's virtual or in person will be up to the mentee and their mentor. Mm-hmm. The professional development component. So participants will be required to attend 2 free public workshops that are hosted by the Roundtable. The first one, we already do have the date and time. That's going to be Thursday, January 21st of 2027 from 5 to 7 Eastern. That will be a virtual workshop on resumes, cover letters, interviews, fun things like that. The second is going to be a career resource forum. We hosted one of these last year and it was so successful. We're doing it again. We are still putting the final touches on that plan. So it will be late winter 2027. The exact date and location are TBD, but that will be an in-person event. So program participants will know as soon as we do. Then our participants in the program will also be offered, this is an optional PD addition to the program, but participants will be given free access to our 2026 Day of Learning. That's going to happen later this year on November 11th. And then they will also be offered free access to the 2027 Face-to-Face Arts and Education Conference taking place at the end of April in 2027 at City College of New York again.
Thanks. So beyond that, as you can imagine, learning is really important to us, making sure we're providing different avenues and opportunities for folks to really skills build as part of this program. So there will be certain curated professional developments just for the selected cohort members. These professional development and skills building sessions are going to be on topics that will be curated based on the interests and trends from cohort applications. Mentees in the program are expected to attend at least 6 of the 8 scheduled sessions that we'll be hosting. Those will be a mix of in-person and virtual to take place on Thursdays at 6 o'clock. And we have these dates listed out here. November 19th, December 10th, January 14th in 2027, February 11th, March 11th, April 8th, May 20th, and June 17th. So again, attendance at all of these, at all of them isn't required. It's just 6 out of the 8. So as you are putting together your application materials, please keep in mind, is this something that you're able to put a time commitment towards as part of the overall program? I will say the in-person workshops are likely going to be taking place at their Midtown office location, although occasionally we might have something on site at a neighboring arts and cultural organization. So something just to keep in mind in your own planning. Let's see. Field assignments. So we are ones that we really love to balance. How are we actually putting into practice the learnings that we're taking in? So there will be 2 field hours assignments during this, which hopefully aren't too taxing. The first of which is we're going to be asking participants to apply their skills in networking to doing an international interview with somebody that's of interest to them, that's related to their program goals and career interests. This could be somebody selected in partnership with your mentor, somebody that the Roundtable helps put you in contact with. But really, one of our goals with this program is help you expand your network. And we know that this is a key way that happens within the arts and culture field here in New York City, is getting out and meeting people. Additionally, we love to encourage folks to go and take in arts and culture and sort of the many rich and vibrant opportunities we have here. So as part of the program, there will be an arts and culture experience that was TBD. Once we have our cohort selection, we'll be then identifying what that looks like once we have everybody in the space. Just to give a sense, though, of what that will look like in terms of time capacity within the context of the program, we anticipate that will probably be between 2 to 4 hours total. at some point between your 7-8 month span in the program. Let's see. So who are these mentors? Participants are, so once accepted, essentially what happens is the participants will have individual discussions with a member of the roundtable staff so that we can better understand what are your goals? What are you looking for in a mentor? It's really important that not only do we read your application materials, but we really get a sense to talk one-on-one with you to understand what are you hoping to get out of this program. Based on those conversations, your application materials, we then like to call it a bit of a matchmaking process and pair each participant with somebody from our network. It could be an arts education professional, but also recognizing arts administrators are coming from finance, development, production, from finance, various aspects of our field. So it could be an arts education, it could be somebody entirely different. But thankfully, our 35 years working in the field, our hundreds of members and organizations that we connect with each year has proven to be a really solid Rolodex for us to pull from. So that process takes a couple months for us to really make sure that we are intentionally and thoughtfully pairing folks together. So matches are then expected to be finalized by early December 2026. I will say our hope is to pair each mentee or program participant with somebody that's outside of their existing network or outside, of course, beyond their employing organization, because we want to make sure that this is a space where you can have candid discussion on the barriers and opportunities that you might be facing. And we find that that is helpful if there might be some distance from an employer. So please know that that's something that we keep in mind as well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll take our first
Yeah.
pause for questions, and then we'll dive into the application a little bit.
And feel free, if you want to put in the chat, raise a physical hand, a virtual hand.
Evangeline, I see your hand up. Feel free to come off mute.
Hi, yeah, I'm just curious about with the cohort professional development, like what is the mix between kind of like lecture style versus like working with members of the cohort and how is that all balanced?
Yeah, great question. I think it's going to be a mix of both, quite frankly, that I think where it's really important to us that we build community and network amongst the cohort members themselves, recognizing that that is going to be an addition to your network as well. And getting to know those folks, as I'm sure you'll continue to see them throughout your arts and culture career, is really important to us. But through those professional development opportunities, we also want to create space for you to hear directly from professionals in the field on different topics around sort of nonprofit structures or around different career trajectories, around whether it be finance or budgeting or fundraising, all the fun stuff that we know is part of our field. So I think it's definitely going to be a mix of topics. But with that being said, all of this is going to be highly curated based on the folks that are selected. So when we do that intake process and we talk to selected folks about their interests, part of that process for us as well is just getting a sense of what topics might be bubbling up across the program participants. Or are there any trends that we notice across applications? And that then further helps us identify what feels like the meatiest approach and topics for us to include in these types of professional developments.
Definitely. I see Zoe in the chat asked us, does teaching count toward the 1 to 5 years of admin experience? And then someone added on, and the reverse, does working in a non-admin arts field count against the 1 to 5 year requirement?
Ooh, good questions.
Great questions.
So, for the purpose of this program, we are looking for folks that are working in an administrative capacity. I know that there, of course, is a level of administration that comes with teaching, but we ask for you to sort of self-select if it's something that you have been teaching in a classroom and that is the breadth of your experience. This might not be the right opportunity. Instead, we are looking for folks more so on the administrative side of things. And we're happy to, I think, debrief one-on-one at the end of this if there's any sort of, well, does this count? Does that count? We recognize there's a nuance to it. And ultimately, we just want to make sure that a program like this best supports you and where you are hoping to achieve within the confines of the program itself.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, um, does working in a non-admin arts field count against the 1 to 5 year requirement? Non-admin arts field. So are you, I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question. So say if I was working um, as an artist for 1 to 5 years, am I eligible? Is that fair or am I misunderstanding? If I was working as a teaching artist first and now I'm an admin. So, this is a question we've gotten quite a bit. I know for myself, I was a teaching artist for 10 years before I transitioned into administration. We are looking for 1 to 5 years experience in administration. So, say you had taught and that was your gig was teaching arts education, that is separate for us from the 1 to 5 years experience. So you might be further, like have more years cumulatively of arts and culture overall, but it is just the administration experience that we are looking at within the context of this program.
Okay, clarifying question. Field hours, the interview portion, is conducted with someone other than your assigned mentor. Yes, that is correct. For the field hour informational interview, um, that will happen not right at the beginning of the program. That's an assignment that will come sort of midway, we're imagining. And it will be, we will ask the mentee to identify someone that they think would be of interest or value to connect with for like a virtual or in-person coffee date or informational interview. We would recommend the mentee discuss who would be a good fit with their mentor, but us as roundtable staff will also be open to helping identify someone for each mentee, and work to help connect them to get that to happen. Is the goal to pair you with a mentor whose expertise closely aligns with your professional development, for example, a development mentee paired with a development mentor, or to broaden your exposure across arts administration by matching you with someone from a different area? For example, a finance mentee paired with a curatorial mentor.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, it depends on you and your interests. I think part of the reason why we kept this program more broadly looking at arts administration across arts and culture overall is because we know how much this field oftentimes require you to have many different skills in finance, in fundraising, in curation, and you're sort of adding tools to your toolkit as you go along. With that being said, we think my experience from our other mentorship program is that oftentimes that's something that we're able to really suss out from the participants through those one-on-one conversations. Sometimes folks might want somebody with a totally dissimilar background or experience from them so that they're able to have that sort of cross-pollination and growth in another area. Otherwise, they might be really targeted and interested in honing in their skills in a particular area that more so aligns with their background. So it is entirely up to you. One is not preferred over the other versus us. For us, what we're really looking for in the application is you just having a clear sense of what you'd like to get out of the program overall.
Okay, our last question in the chat before we move forward. Would a coordinator title in any capacity match with the admin title?
Yes?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. So I think for us, the distinguishing with the arts administrator versus teaching artist, because we have a teaching artist mentorship program that's intended for folks that are actively teaching in different community settings or in schools. This is intended to be the administrator side of things. So it could be an education administrator, but it could also be in other different topics. And that could be an assistant, it could be a coordinator, it could be a manager. You could have had a title that says administrator. If it's something that you're really like, oh, I'm not sure, that's a great place to either stay on at the end of this call for us to suss out one-on-one or to send us an email afterwards if you're sort of questioning eligibility or if this experience is the right fit or not.
Great. So if you still have questions, let's hold those now to the end. I'd like to move us forward. And yes, folks, I see a couple folks are like, I'm going to stay on. Great. Welcome to do that. We will stay on with you. I'm going to share my screen once more, and we're going to look at the application. So we'll just walk through kind of what the platform looks like, talk about the questions and all of the elements required for submission. So what you're seeing here on my screen is the submittable application portal. So all applications must be submitted through this platform on Submittable. Although we do have, if you have seen our the website, which I can show, I can toggle to quickly. This is the website for the program. Here you're able to access a Google Doc version of the application. That is purely for your reference and convenience. If you are interested in preparing your responses to the application in a separate document, as we find many folks like to do, you can look at the Google Doc, make a copy of it, and jot your answers down in there. But all applications must be submitted through this portal. So when you come into the portal, you'll see kind of the rundown. I'm scrolling down now of all of the information that is also written out on the website in terms of what the program overview is, application process timeline, key dates, all of that good stuff. The first thing it's going to bring you to is our eligibility form to make sure that you are eligible to apply for this opportunity. So we'll fill that out together now. So are you a current resident of New York City? Yes. As we said, all participants must be current residents of New York City. They must also be currently working in the arts and culture field in New York City. So we'll answer yes to that. Program participants must be over the age of 18. I don't believe we said that on our last slide. The question now is, how many cumulative years have you worked in an administrative capacity in the arts and culture field? So we have our options: under 1 year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or more than 5 years. So I'll click 5 here. Are you a current staff member or member of the board of directors of the Roundtable? For right now, let's pretend that I'm not a current staff member, so I'll click no to that. But you do have the option to look at the staff and board to see if you're confused about how to answer that question. And are you a current participant in our 2026 New York State Teaching Artist Mentorship Program cohort? No. And then are you able to provide this listed information to process your payment? So I'll click yes. And that is our eligibility form. So I click next. And as I scroll down, I actually can access the application now. If I was not eligible, there would be a different message here that states that you're not eligible. If you do receive that message, but you think that there was an error, please feel free to reach out to us. In the message, there is listed the mentorship program email address that you can reach out to for questions and to follow up on that. But now let's get to the meat of the application. So our first section is contact information. So we do need the legal name of the applicant, and we have space for your preferred name if it is different. We ask for your pronouns as well, if you'd like to include those. Required information includes your email address, phone number, your residential street address. We also would like you to select which borough you reside in. Then there is an upload option here so that you can share proof of New York City residency. And listed below here, there are all the file types that you're able to attach and a list of different documents that we accept as proof of address. We'll go over these. There's another slide on this in our presentation as we move forward, but everything is listed there for you as well. And again, you can reach out to us if you have questions about what to submit. Section 2 is some demographic information. So we are collecting your age, your race and ethnicity, gender, whether you identify as having a disability or impairment. We ask that you indicate your military service experience, if any, if you identify as being part of the LGBTQIA+ community.
All of those, I will say, do have a I prefer not to answer as well. So although they're required questions, you're always welcome to select that as well.
Yes. And then we move on to arts and cultural experience in section 3. So the first question here is, which areas of arts and culture administration do you have experience in? And you're able to select all that apply. You have a nice lengthy list here, but you can also click other, and then you'll be able to specify. And we have that option on many of these questions as well. Next is, which artistic discipline or disciplines do you have administrative experience in, if any? You're also able to specify if they're not listed there. We ask for your current job title or titles and any current organizations and or affiliations that you may have. And then another file upload here for the 5th question. We ask that you upload a PDF of your resume that outlines your work experience, education, and training in the arts and culture field. Resumes should not be longer than 2 pages. And we really mean that. So if you have more than 2 pages to your resume, please make sure that you are editing accordingly, because that is our requirement. There is a little tip here. So it just says clarity regarding your work experience and time spent in each position will help panelists evaluate your application. Again, keep your resume to a max of 2 pages. And we really want to make sure that you're highlighting your relevant work here in the arts and culture administrative field. You also have the option, if you'd like to share your website, LinkedIn, or any other URL to give us more information about yourself. Next, we ask if you've previously applied for any of the following roundtable programs. This really has no bearing on your application. We're just curious. This is information that we'd like to collect. And then we move on to the sort of longer answer questions around the mentorship program itself. So our first question has a limit of 250 words, and it is, this program is intended to support the advancement of early career professionals working in New York City's arts and culture sector. What goals do you have for your career in the next 2 to 5 years? So you have 250 words there to share your goals with us. And then moving on, in one sentence, we are curious, what specific area of interest or focus do you hope to pursue if accepted for this program? There's an example. I would use this program to focus on ... There's a maximum of 40 words here, so we really mean one sentence. But you have space in other areas to
Go into
add
further
on.
detail.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is, what is or are the challenge or challenges that you are facing in terms of taking the next step in your arts and culture career? How do you see participation in this program helping you address them and move towards your goals? You have 300 words there. And just as a tip that's written down here, we want you to be clear and specific, and we want the response to this question really connect to the why of why you're interested in this opportunity. And then our final long format question has a max of 200 words, and it is, why is arts and culture your chosen career path? So beyond liking arts and culture, we want you to tell us why you want to build a career in this field specifically. So focus on your career ambitions, what draws you to this career path, and what impact or perspective you hope to bring. And that is listed. I'm reading that from the application here as well. The final piece is your signature and confirmation for submission. So it just reiterates here all the mandatory deadlines and commitments for the program that participants who are accepted must complete for this opportunity. So it is required that participants attend our in-person program orientation on Wednesday, October 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. in person at our Midtown Manhattan office. There are the 7 hours of mentorship meetings, which we discussed. The cohort PD sessions, of which attendance is expected at least 6 of the 8 sessions, and those dates are listed there. There are the 2 mandatory public professional development programs that we touched on, and the 2 field hours assignments. So it just reiterates here all of the requirements and expectations, and we ask that you just click this box here that says, yes, I understand the mandatory deadlines and commitments associated with this grant opportunity outlined above, and I confirm that I agree to attend all events and complete all requirements if selected. So once you agree to that and finish this, you are able to click this orange submit button. You'll see to the left of that button there is an option to save a draft. Submittable does auto save every couple of minutes if you decide to work directly in the application portal, and you can manually save as often as you'd like. As you can see here, it says last saved 4 minutes ago. So if you feel comfortable leaving all of your answers here, you're welcome to do that, and you can just save a draft and come back to it as you log into your portal. But again, if you feel nervous about that, you can always make a copy of our Google Doc and prepare your answers there.
Kinsey, what happens if somebody would like to request an accommodation with the
Ooh,
application?
that is a great question. If you would like to request an accommodation related to submitting this application, we ask that you reach out to us at the mentorship at nycaaeroundtable.org email address and let us know. I believe we have a date. Yes, it's coming up in the next week. So if you would like an accommodation related to submitting this application, we ask that you let us know by August 27th. That way we have plenty of time to support you and get things in order before this application closes on September 11th.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Just something to note as Kinsey transitions over to the PowerPoint. All of the applicants, regardless of whether you are accepted to the program or not, will receive a 1 year free individual membership to the roundtable just to say thanks for applying. And we want to keep engaging and finding a way to work with you as part of this community.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I'm also looking at our notes here and I see something that I didn't share. We have it set up on Submittable so that applicants are only able to submit one application per account. So that will make sure that you are working from just one application and not double submitting. It's helpful on our end as well. So if you are having an issue trying to submit and it says that you've already submitted one, feel free to reach out to us and just double check your submittable settings as well. Okay. Uh,
Oh, this is me.
yes.
So just to reflect, so application materials, you would submit the submittable application form, which we just went through. That includes including a proof of current New York City residency, which in the next slide will list those out. We are also, as part of the application, expected to upload a 1 to 2 page resume, no more than 2 pages. That should be submitted as a PDF. I don't know that the system will take in any other file format, so including a PDF resume. And then also, you're welcome to include a link to your website or LinkedIn as well. There is application space, or space within the application for that. So in terms of proof of New York City residency, we'll accept any of the following documents as part of proof of address. So valid driver's license, property tax receipt, posted mail with your name on it, utility bill, lease agreement, ID NYC card, voter registration card. You're also welcome, of course, to put a black box over anything that you maybe do not want us to see. That is totally up to you. What is really matters to us is just making sure that you are based here in New York City. And of course, with any of this, if there's any questions about certain proof of address, feel free to send that our way. Something that we do get every now and then is passport, and I do not believe your address is included on your passport. So just keep that in mind. All right. Let's see. So review process and criteria. The way in which we then review the applications is in partnership with community members. So applications will be reviewed by staff and a panel of 7 arts education practitioners, arts administrators as well, who are using the following criteria to evaluate all of the applications. So in no particular order, those are demonstrated experience and interest, working in an administrative capacity in the arts and culture field, desire to take the next step in one's career, clarity of goals for the program, the why of why you're interested in this specific opportunity, and then also alignment between the express needs and program structure and offering. I believe this is all on our website as well that you can refer back to. And so let's see. We really encourage you to be thorough and thoughtful in your responses. Take a look back at this criteria once you've had your applications to see, have I hit these different components of how we'll be reviewing applications. I will share from prior applications we have done. 1 to 2 sentence answered, unless explicitly we ask for 1 sentence, typically don't score as well for long format questions. So please use your space to the best that you can to help us learn just more about you, which is what we're excited to hear about.
Yeah, one thing that we haven't touched on and included in our presentation is about, and of course we don't know because this is the first time we're doing this program, but based on the last 5 years, programs like this can be quite competitive.
Yes.
And our recent acceptance rates have been maybe 10% or less.
Yes. So we imagine this will be a competitive application process, as our other mentorship program has been in years past. So please, if your application is not accepted, please do not be deterred. We will be hosting this program again at least next year, and hopefully for many more years to come. So please know that as you're preparing your application too, that's just something to keep in mind. We imagine we will receive a healthy batch of applications for us and our panelists to review.
Yeah, I think that's where the making sure that you're looking at the criteria and aligning your responses can really be of assistance in helping your application to stand out.
A quick note that unfortunately, due to our capacity, we are not able to review your application in advance of you submitting it. So we can't, if you say, hey, what do you think of this question? We just don't have capacity to do that for everyone. So keep that in mind. Also, we are going to be very hard and fast with that submission deadline, which
Speaking of,
is right here.
Here we are.
So the application is open as of earlier this month, August 3rd. You are here today at our information session, which again will be recorded and shared out, ideally within the next week is what we are thinking, if not earlier, along with a copy of these slides. The application itself is going to close on Friday, September 11th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. We will not be accepting applications beyond that, and that's simply because we want all of that time for the review process and to make sure every application gets the same amount of time and space for the many people that are reviewing these applications to have with each of them. With that, so once we review our applications and make our selections, those applicants are going to be notified by Friday, October 9th. And as was shared earlier, we then will have a mandatory program orientation that takes place on Wednesday, October 28th from 5 to 7 p.m., which will be in person at New York Live Arts' office, the 528th Ave site. All of this is found on the website as well.
Yeah, and with the application closing deadline, as Kim mentioned, that is a hard deadline. It will not be extended. So we definitely recommend taking the time to try to submit at least a couple of hours earlier. In the past, there have been some folks who have had issues with submittable, and that's not something that we can necessarily assist with on our end. If it's a platform problem, there is a chat that can help you and a hotline to reach out to for assistance with that. But definitely set yourself up for success by submitting at least a few hours early. That way, if anything has any issues, you have time to troubleshoot.
And I think similarly with any questions that might come up, as we get closer to that deadline, make sure if you have a burning question for us, please be sure to submit it in advance. Us answering questions at 11 p.m. on September 11th, it is likely you will not get a response back from us at that time. So just keep that in mind as well as you're thinking through applying.
Yes, our office will close at 6 p.m.
Yes.
that day. So. Okay, great. So now we can answer any other questions that have come up for folks. I saw some stuff happening in the chat, so let me try to get back to where we left off.
Is this limited to New York City? Yes. This program is intended for folks that are living and working in New York City, so within the 5 boroughs.
I see this Ashley appears to have left the meeting as well, who had asked how come one may not be staying on, what is the eligibility requirement. We just invited folks to stay on. If you have like specific questions that you want one-on-one, we'll stop recording and we can chat through things. Some folks saying thank you and I have to run, have to jump. Okay, great. Any questions from folks?
I have. Let me know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Dahlia. I wanted to ask just a bit more about the eligibility. Just because, for example, this is a little specific, but like all of my arts and culture work is volunteer, and it's been sort of like different titles. I've done like coordinator, I've been like an ambassador, an event organizer, a programmer. Like it's really varied over the last few years, but it's all arts and culture tied. Do you think that would be relevant?
Absolutely, I think so, yeah.
I think as long as sort of keep in mind that 1 to 5 years, which is our target range in terms of having that arts administration background, we recognize that there's many ways in which people find themselves working in arts administration, some of which might be part-time, volunteer-based, intern, full-time, independent contractor. That's our reasoning and hope then for keeping that open is to account for instances where you might have that initial experience, but it could have been in, say, a volunteer capacity. So from what you're initially sharing with us, that does sound eligible on our end.
And it's also, I think that we said this, but cumulative. So even if
Yes.
there's a gap of doing some other work in between, maybe you started as in an administrative capacity, had some experience in that, and then shifted to something else, and now are coming back to it. But cumulatively, you have under that 5-year mark. That would definitely be eligible as well.
Yes.
Larson?
Hi, I'm Larson. I'm curious more about question 2 on the application, the what specific area of interest or focus do you hope to pursue? I'm curious if you can elaborate a little bit more on that, slash like give some examples of what like kind of what direction you're looking for there.
Can you pull that up so I
Yes.
see what the text of it is?
Sure.
Yeah, I think ultimately, we add a sentence starter there to get you going. So I would like to use this program to focus on blank. So ultimately, I will transport myself back to my early career self. That if it was me, I might say I would like to use this program to improve my knowledge of fundraising across individual and corporate um, constituencies and to build my network. We're looking to get a sense, just like what we find from our mentorship programs is sometimes there are so many different things that folks want to focus on, and I get that way myself. And we just sort of want to give you a moment to distill down, like, what is it that you want to do? And like, what's your focus? So that's not to say like that has to be the thing, or it has to be worded in that way, but ultimately we just want to get a sense at its core, what are you hoping to focus on in partnership with a mentor?
I think it's also a helpful exercise for potential participants of the program because it sounds like so much, right? The hours of PD and the hours spent together in cohort, but really there's only 20 hours. It'll be more than that, but you get 7 total hours with your mentor. That's less than it sounds like, and so it's really helpful to try to hone in on what you want to spend that time on so that you can right out the gates work towards it and hopefully make some progress. Adam has a similar question. For that question, are we looking for responses more in the vein of areas of the field, example, production management and curatorial exhibitions, or skills-based, like fundraising, managerial skills, or is either answer fine? And I would say either answer is fine.
Both are fine.
Matthew asks, are there built-in opportunities for the selected cohort to network and meet each other more informally? Have mentee groups in the past grown close with each other?
Ooh. So I will say that is the hope for this. Our previous mentorship cohorts have been statewide, which can make networking a bit challenging when we might have folks that are based here or on Long Island versus folks that might be in the North Country or in Buffalo. We have historically provided opportunities for those folks to come together at key moments, and our hope with this program as well, knowing that everybody will be based within the 5 boroughs, for there to be more organic networking and just getting to know one another. That I find that folks that I might have met earlier on in my arts administration career, you'll find them come back time and time again. And so that's our hope with this as well, is sort of expose folks to new people in the field, that ultimately, as you grow in your career, these might be folks that you see on a similar or parallel paths as well.
Yeah, and I think that's where also those additional perks of being in the program that aren't necessarily requirements come in. The day of learning and face-to-face 2027, the free invitation for mentees to attend those events, I think are attempts to make sure that we are creating additional opportunities outside of the program requirements themselves for mentees to be together, learn together, spend time together. But also, I think we're really balancing an eye towards that to also like hard skills in the PD sessions, the 8 PD sessions. So while we will do some, workshops and hard skills focus, we also are intending to balance that with opportunities to more generally spend time together as a cohort and create those relationships. I hopped in late. Apologies if this question has already been addressed. Do we know who the mentors are yet? What type of industries, positions, experience do mentors in this program usually hail from?
Yeah. So mentors are hand selected based on who is part of the program. I can tell from our teaching artist mentorship program, those have spanned in that case, expert teaching artists. It's also been heads of cultural organizations, large and small. I imagine for this program, it's similarly going to be the heads of different arts organizations or heads of different departments, folks that might have very key expertise working in an area that you are most interested in. Maybe within our follow-up materials, we can send one of our yearbook pages from the Teaching Artist program.
Yeah.
That gives a sense of some of like who past folks have been. There's been some really impressive and lovely people that span all art forms, all different aspects of the field, working in different communities. So we don't like to have a curated mentor list. To be honest, we initially thought maybe we might do that, but we found we wanted it to be so customized to who was participating that ultimately matchmaking was the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions from folks?
Oh, I should say in terms of industries, by and large, people are based in the arts and culture field. Every now and then we might have, though, mentors who come from adjacent field or who are doing work maybe with a specific population that folks might be interested in. Say for our teaching artist program, oftentimes we find folks might be interested in working with incarcerated or justice involved populations. So we might bring in an expert in that field. Or sometimes we hear on our teaching artist side around wanting to better understand around social emotional development or trauma informed pedagogy. So that person might not have an explicit arts focus, but have a skill set that matches what our program participant is interested in. I think let's wrap up and then we can stay on for any questions that feel more individualized to folks.
Yes. As you on your screen now, we're sharing screen in big bold letters. It says applications are due Friday, September 11th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Again, this deadline will not be extended, so please prioritize getting your materials together by this time. And if you have, again, any questions as you're putting those together, you do have the mentorship at email. I'll also be directly following up with you all early next week with the recording and resources from this call, so you'll have my email there as well. But this is listed here too. But contact us and you can check out our website for more information. I think that's a great idea. I'll send the yearbook for the Teaching Artist Mentorship Program so you can get a sense of what that looked like. But also on our website, you can see reports from past years of mentorship. You can also see who's on our board because sometimes those folks end up being mentors and just get to learn more about the roundtable in general. Okay, I see some thank yous in the chat. That's great. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you all so much for being here. If you do have questions and want to stay on, you're welcome to, but I'm going to stop the recording right now. Thanks all.
Great. Thanks all.